There's a very specific branch of fiction called Sherlockiana. This is, of course, works which are related to the stories of Sherlock Holmes. They can be fictional biographies, they can be treating him as a real person, or they can be stories in his universe looking at him. The Robert Downey Jr. movies, the TV series Elementary, and Sherlock are all very good examples of Sherlockiana. Another good example is the Enola Holmes series by Nancy Springer. These are 6 books that were published in the last decade. They are a very interesting take on the Sherlock Holmes mythos by looking at it through the eyes of a teenage girl, Enola Holmes, ostensibly the never-mentioned sister of Sherlock and Mycroft. In the books, Enola has very Sherlockian adventures. She dresses in disguises, she runs around London, she's constantly in peril, she sometimes has to use her physicality and her wits to get out of situations, many times both at the same time, and she solves crimes. In her case, she solves missing persons. Each book has at least one missing persons case in it, and they are actually usually pretty well written and have logical conclusions. Again, they follow the rules of mysteries. There are a few problems. Sherlock Holmes is much nicer than he is in the original stories, and he's much less insane as well. In addition, on social and political issues, Enola speaks with the author's voice, which is unusual because the author has done a good job of characterization, and Enola sounds different than the author herself. Part of this problem comes about because the author is seeking to educate the reader on what it was like to be a young lady in the Victorian era, and she does quite a good job of this. Another interesting thing is that there's also a wonderful element of code and code breaking, as this is the method by which Enola and her mother, who abandons her in the first chapter, communicate with each other. Tweens, young adults, and adults will all appreciate Nancy Springer's Enola Holmes works. They create a wonderful world which is educational to a great extent. However, teenage boys, being teenage boys, will probably consider the books too feminine and dismiss them out of hand. That is their loss. This has been Joseph Cadotte for Old Sims Reviews.